I know. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, Monday, November the 5th, 2018.
Yes, it is November 5th. Commissioner Garcia, Commissioner James, Commissioner Davis, and Commissioner Ascento are present. President James, we do have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Bureau of Contract Administration. Brett McReynolds.
Good morning, Julie Allen, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, Khalil Garrios, Bureau of Sanitation.
Good morning, Sandy True, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Lance Owishu with the Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President James, we do not have any speaker cards under general public comment. We also do not have any commentary under the Neighborhood Council comment section. No speaker cards were received for any of the items for today's agenda.
Okay, we'll close general public comment as well as the Neighborhood Council category of commentary. Is there a second to my motion that we approve the meeting minutes from the meeting of Wednesday, October 10th, 2018 by Commissioner Davis? Any objection? Without objection, we will approve those meeting minutes. A couple of administrative, well, we don't have any administrative items. Let's go ahead and take care of agenda item number 1, Bureau of Engineering, Settlement Agreement and Change Order number 102, Council District 1, North Spring Street Viaduct Retrofit and Rehabilitation Project, recommending that the board concur with the stipulation for entry of administrative civil liability order, that's a stipulated order, which means by agreement, between Los Angeles Regional Water Quality Control Board, the Water Board, and the city. Secondly, authorize the city engineer to issue a payment in the amount of $105,049 to the Water Board to settle the stipulated order. That's RA 2018-0101. And third, authorize the city engineer to issue deductive change order number 102 for the project to impose a penalty for violations to the 401 water quality certification. Mr. Gibson, welcome back, sir.
Thank you. Scott Gibson, project manager for the North Spring Street Bridge. Just to give you a little bit of background, the project involves widening the bridge to the south side and also seismically retrofitting the existing bridge. The bridge is over the LA River, and in order to do work in the LA River, we are required to pull a permit from the LA Regional Water Quality Board, which is responsible for maintaining water quality within waters owned by the state. Unfortunately, during a couple site inspections by the Water Board, they noticed several violations to the permit. And they issued a citation originally for just over $500,000. Over the course of several negotiations, we were able to reduce that amount to roughly $209,000, and then we were able to further offset that total cost by offering to do a supplemental environmental project to benefit water quality. So we were able to cut that $209,000 in half. So the total amount due to the Water Board is $105,049. Ultimately, it's the contractor's responsibility for adhering to all of the stipulations within the permit. And so that's why we're requesting authority to issue a deductive change order to the contractor.
Great, thank you, Mr. Gibson. Commissioner Davis.
I realize the prime contractor has the responsibility for it. Did they ever state to you what happened in this issue here in terms of their being unable to get the permits on time?
You mean inability to, I guess, follow the requirements within the permit? So, I mean, they did state that we did encounter some unforeseen conditions during the project that led to some of these violations. And that may be true, but ultimately, it still is a responsibility to, adhere to these requirements, whether or not they're expected or unforeseen. They're still required to adhere to the requirements.
In terms of construction work, is there a process and procedures when we confront unforeseen circumstances, which will occur? We don't know when, but they definitely are sure to occur. Is there a process that we have in engineering that contractors can adhere to that would accommodate the realities of unforeseen circumstances?
When it comes to just following these permit requirements? I mean, all we can really do...
Particularly when it comes to issues that were unforeseen in this particular project that caused them not to be able to fulfill the things that we needed to have done.
I wouldn't say that they were unable to fulfill them. I think maybe that they weren't anticipating these conditions in the field, and so maybe overlooked some of the requirements within the permit, or maybe we're just focused on addressing the contract requirements or the project itself, and may have overlooked the permit requirements. But I think it's probably the city's responsibility to maybe just remind them of the permit requirements when we do encounter these unforeseen conditions that,
So as a result of this, you think that moving forward, more increased communication between us and them will
Yeah.
help us to prevent
Definitely,
this
yes.
kind of problem occurring?
both with BOE.
Particularly as it relates to the prime contractors doing work with us.
Yeah, I mean, definitely with BOE and Con Ed, we all kind of had to get together and all discuss, the importance of adhering to these requirements.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James. Scott, is there any recourse that we have with the contractor in terms of their non-compliance and obviously our project and our relationship with the water board?
I'm sorry, could you repeat
Do we have any recourse regarding the penalty of the payment with the contractor?
with contractor? I mean, we're issuing the deductive change order for,
Oh, so it's a deductive change order
Yeah.
that we are going to take out of the contract
Right.
so that's the recourse.
yes.
Okay. Have they responded back to us to the action, the contractor?
So the full fine amount was $209,000. The water board, when they issue these, it's for each violation, there's a dollar amount, and then they tack on multipliers for various reasons. One of the multipliers was the city's history of past violations, which was a 10% multiplier. The contractor did not feel that they should be responsible for the city's past violations. The reality is we wouldn't be in this position if they hadn't violated the permit in the first place. However, Griffith Company has been, they've been very good to work with, and so we agreed that, okay, we'll reduce the fine amount by that 10% multiplier.
Understood. Okay, thank you for that clarification. And then the supplemental project that we had, you said that we're doing an environmental type of side project?
Yeah, it's close to the project, so unfortunately we weren't able to complete that environmental project in phase 1 of this project, which just completed. We are starting phase 2 of this project, and so the plan is to implement that project during phase 2 of the project. And it's basically just sort of a little bump out along the sidewalk next to the river where we create sort of a little bioswale that will collect water runoff and filter it in the bioswale before releasing it back into the river.
And we're going to take care of that under the project cost?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, and that'll be phase 2.
Yes.
And then moving forward, we'll just continue to work well with the contractor and make sure that they understand
Yeah.
the permit conditions and that whole thing and tighten it up.
Yeah.
Very good.
exactly.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacinto. Anything further? I received a top secret note from our executive officer on a very small piece of paper that we need to amend to authorize me to sign the order. So, Dr. Campos, how would we amend that? Just add?
I would just add to recommendation number 1 to concur with the stipulation for the entry of administrative civil liability order, and at the end of that recommendation include the following statement and authorize the president of the board to execute said stipulated order.
Okay, then that would be my offered amendment in my motion for number 1. Is there a second on number 1 by Commissioners Davis and Jacinto? Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 1. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any issue sending number 1 forthwith? We'll send number 1 forthwith. Agenda item number 2, Council Districts 1 and 13, construction and maintenance agreement, public at-grade pedestrian crossing and North Bridge approach ramp for the Taylor Yard Bikeway pedestrian bridge over the Los Angeles River project, recommending that the board first authorize the city engineer to execute the construction and maintenance agreement between the city and Southern California Regional Rail Authority for a not-to-exceed amount of $200,000 for the construction of the public at-grade pedestrian crossing and North Bridge approach ramp for the bridge. And secondly, authorize the city engineer or his designee to make any technical corrections or clarifications to the above action. Mr. Malice.
Good morning. My name is Nur Malhus. I'm from the Bureau of Engineering Architectural Division. This construction and management agreement is for the Taylor Yard Bikeway pedestrian bridge over Los Angeles River. This bridge is a 400-foot-long bridge, steel truss bridge, which is 18 feet wide, which will carry bicycles and pedestrians, and it will connect Elysian Valley to Cypress Park. The north side of the river will connect to the existing Taylor Yard Bridge, and the south side will connect to the existing LA River Greenway Trail via bike ramps. Now, on the north side of the bridge, coincidentally, there happens to be tail tracks in the vicinity. Although we own the G2 parcel now, which is the Taylor Yard, we would have to cross these tail tracks in order to create a public crossing. And because of that, we would have to engage in this construction and maintenance agreement. Southern California Regional Rail Authority, they own the jurisdiction around the tail tracks, so we have to comply with their rules and provisions. So the C&M agreement it's between the city and SCARA. We will have to comply with standard conditions and provisions in order to construct around the tail track. Now, the cost of the C&M agreement is stipulated or negotiated at $170,800, and this consists of material procurement, inspection, flagging, project management, and other things necessary for us to comply with constructing around their tail track. Now, we're requesting $200,000. The reason for that is in case there is some kind of extra money that's needed, we didn't want to go back to the board. We wanted to have that flexibility. So we wanted to request your authorization to execute this construction and maintenance agreement in order for us to construct our bridge and this bike ramp and at-grade crossing around the vicinity of the Southern California Regional Rail Authority's tail track.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Garcia.
I have a quick question. So this is today's amount that you're requesting. It's only just in case, for contingency, just in case something...
Just in case something happens during construction where we would have to have extra costs or extra fees, we just wanted to include that in there, just this extra amount above the $170,800.
Okay, I have a quick question. How far along are you in this project?
This is basically, in this project, we just started construction and we just issued a notice to proceed in September 21st. And actual construction of the bridge won't occur until April 15th, which is the beginning of the seasonal work restriction over the LA River. And we plan to actually start doing the work all at once. So we would construct the actual items in the LA River as well as the bike ramps to and from the bridge. Right now, it's just all submittals and meetings.
Got it. And when do we expect for this project to be completed after we start in April?
Well, we have this project by contract will be completed by March of 2021, but the contractor's current schedule is to actually finish everything by December of 2019.
Oh, wow.
Now, we don't know if that's going to be a reality, but this is what he currently desires to do through his schedule.
Okay. Thank you for that information.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Anything further? Commissioner Cinto?
Thank you. Noor, I think I asked this question when we had the briefing. Anytime we see bikeway, pedestrian, and bridge, we know we're going to get connectivity, which is an exciting thing. Can you tell us the net amount of connectivity we'll get for bike riders and pedestrians with this bridge in terms of
Yeah, well, essentially, the good thing about this bridge is that it creates connectivity to, Cypress Park from Elysian Valley. If they didn't have this bridge, bikers would have to essentially go up San Fernando Road, use the Riverside Drive Bridge, go down, and it'll be basically a 3-mile detour for them to go to the same place. So this bridge really is good for the community. And it also connects people to, on the north side where Taylor Yard Bridge, there's the Rio de Janeiro or Los Angeles State Park. So people could go and, utilize that park, people from both sides. And on the south side, they can use that. They can connect to the actual bike path, Phase 1C, and just keep going all the way down.
Excellent. So this bridge project has a lot of connectivity and a very important aspect of the LA River, correct?
It does. And also something I didn't mention is that on the south side, when they take the Phase 1C bike path, they travel up north. It's going to connect to a project that the city is currently working on, and Metro, with the LA River Bikeway and Greenway Design Completion Project, the San Fernando Completion Project. So it's a great connectivity for everybody. And I think the connectivity between the new projects along the LA River will continue to grow.
Very good. Thank you, Noor.
Yeah. Thank you. Anything further? Commissioner Santos made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 2, seconded by Commissioners Garcia and Davis. Therefore, without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 2. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any issue sending 2 forthwith? We'll send 2 forthwith. Agenda item number 3, joint report, Bureaus of Contract Administration and Engineering, Council District 4, contract acceptance for Vicenta Way bulkhead, recommending that the board accept the contract. Mr. McReynolds, you're here on a couple of these today.
Yes, thank you, President James. Brett McReynolds, Bureau of Contract Administration. First one is this item 3, which is the Van Santa Way bulkhead project in Hollywood Hills area of CD4. On November 22nd, 2017, the contractor was awarded to John S. Meek on a competitive basis using the on-call geotechnical emergency list. The award amount was awarded with a not-to-exceed amount of $430,000. The contract was for the construction of a new 90-foot-long bulkhead along Van Santa Way, along with paving and improvements of the street and the area adjacent. 3 change orders were issued, increasing the contract by 1.98% above the award amount, however, 9.6% below the contract not-to-exceed amount. Total cost of the contract was $391,027.16. All work, including final corrections, was completed June 25, 2018. Retention released thereafter. This contract is part of the emergency geotechnical on-call list, so therefore no specific MBE/WB goals were established. However, the contractor has complied with all EEO and labor compliance requirements for the contract, and there are no disputed funds and no unresolved property complaints, so ask for your acceptance.
Any questions on number 3? I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 3, seconded by Commissioner Jacinto. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 3. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send number 3 forthwith. That takes us to number 4, Contract Administration and Engineering in Council District 7, Contract Acceptance, Sidewalk Repair Program, Small Sidewalk Repair Services. This is work package number 6, recommending that the board accept the contract. Mr. McReynolds on number 4.
Yes, thank you. This is one of our small contracts with the Sidewalk Repair Program. On October 21st, 2016, your board adopted the BOE BCA Joint Report number 1, which established the small contractor program within the Sidewalk Repair Program. On October 23rd, 2017, this particular contract was entered into with EBS General Engineering in the amount of $64,733.49, with a not-to-exceed amount of $99,000. The contract was for the repair of sidewalks in CD7. This particular contract repaired the sidewalks in front of the Andres Pico Adobe and up in Sepulveda Boulevard. 2 change orders were issued, increasing the contract by 25.07% above the award amount, however, 19.03% below the not-to-exceed amount. The total cost of the contract was $80,965.41. All work, including final corrections, were completed in March 9th of 2018 and retention released thereafter. The contractor has complied with EEO and labor compliance requirements. No specific MBWB requirements were established for the contract, and there are no unresolved complaints or disputes on this one.
It is worth noting, though, as the report does, in these 2 sidewalk repair small contracting packages that you have, Brett, that when the list was established, the prime contractor certifications were 31% MBE, 8% WBE, 42% SBE, 31% EBE, and 42% local, which, by the way, is the goal of the program.
Yes.
So just so the oral record is clear on that. And before, I was going to ask this at the end of the next one, but I'll ask you now. With some of these small packages coming back now, is your team satisfied with the work that you're seeing? Are our goals being met with the small contractor program?
Absolutely. The program has really proved to be a wonderful program for helping smaller contractors get their foot in the door of the city. One of the contractors on the list has the name of Small Potato Incorporated, which kind of gives you the idea of the program in general. And they are really, truly, in most cases, starting up contractors, and it's a wonderful program for, like I said, helping them get in. This particular project also had, we're using some of the non-standard sidewalk methods and pavers and things of that nature. So in addition to that, this next project had the same pervious and concrete products, pavers.
Great, excellent,
So, yeah,
thank you.
overall, great program.
I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 4, seconded by Commissioner Jacinto and Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, and Commissioner Garcia. So that'll be the order. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send number 4 forthwith. Number 5, same kind of thing. CD4, though, contract acceptance, sidewalk repair program, small sidewalk work package number 7. Mr. McReynolds, recommending that the board accept the contract. Go ahead on number 5.
Yes, this one was on October 21st, 2016. Your board adopted the joint report number 1, as I had mentioned previously. On November 13th, 2017, this particular contract was entered into with Ortiz & Son Incorporated in the amount of $73,527.39, again a not-to-exceed amount of $99,000. As you mentioned, the contract was in CD4, and specifically this dealt with the sidewalks around the fire station number 35 on Hellhurst Street. 2 change orders were issued, increasing the contract by 32.65% above the award amount, however, 2.46 below the not-to-exceed amount percentage, bringing the total cost of the contract to $97,534.04. All work, including final corrections, was completed May 18, 2018, and retention released thereafter. Contractor has complied with EEO and labor compliance requirements, and there are no unresolved complaints or disputes. This one in particular had, as I had mentioned, pavers and pervious recycled aggregate over a 12-inch sand base.
Okay. Any questions at all on number 5? I'll make a motion that we adopt number 5, seconded by Commissioners Davis and Garcia. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 5. Any issue sending 5 forthwith? We'll send number 5 forthwith. Thank you, Brett.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 6, subcontractor substitution for Sinanian Development Incorporated, recommending that the board concur with the action of Commissioner Davis, approving the request of Sinanian Development Incorporated for the subcontractor substitution of, it's either Waldinger or Waldinger, and Strand Construction Incorporated, doing business as Russell's Construction, with Metro Engineering for the parking bumpers and pavement markings work on the Los Angeles Department of Transportation bus maintenance and compressed natural gas fueling facility. That's 454 through 518 East Commercial Street project. Mr. Smith on number 6.
Good morning. Chris Smith, Bureau of Contract Administration. As you said, Mr. President, the Bureau received a request from Sinanian Development October 2nd, 2018 to substitute Waldinger and Stream Construction Incorporated, doing business as Russell's Construction, OBE subcontractor for parking bumpers and pavement markings. They want to substitute them with Metro Engineering, another OBE subcontractor. Accompanying their letter was a letter from Waldinger withdrawing from the project because they've gone out of business. The approved amount for Waldinger's portion of the parking bumpers and pavement markings was $11,000. Metro will complete Waldinger's portion of the work for the same amount. Therefore, the substitution is at no additional cost to the city, and the Bureau concurs with Commissioner Davis's recommendation to approve the substitution.
Okay, any questions? Well, that's a motion by Commissioner Davis, seconded by Commissioner Garcia. Any objection? Without objection, we will adopt agenda item number 6. Any issue sending 6 forthwith? We will send 6 forthwith. Agenda item number 7, subcontractor substitution, Sinanian Development again, recommending that the board concur with the action of Commissioner Davis approving the request of Sinanian for the subcontractor substitution of A1 Quality Blinds with Contract Decor Incorporated for roller window shades work on the Los Angeles Department of Transportation bus maintenance and compressed natural gas fueling facility, again 454 to 518 East Commercial Street project. Mr. Smith on number 7.
The Bureau received a request October 2nd, 2018 from Sinanian Development to substitute A1 Quality Blinds, their OBE subcontractor for roller window shades, with Contract Decor Inc., another OBE subcontractor. Accompanying their request was a letter of withdrawal from A1 Quality Blinds. The explanation given is A1 Quality Blinds, when they submitted their bid, assumed that they would be able to provide an equal product. And the city didn't want that. We want what's actually in the specification. The original bid listed blind company is not a vendor for that particular company, so they've withdrawn from the contract. The approved amount for A1's portion of the roller window shades was $16,525. Contract Decor will complete A1's portion of the work for the same amount. Therefore, the substitution is at no additional cost to the city, and the Bureau concurs with Commissioner Davis's recommendation to approve the substitution.
And DOT is going to get what they want from those blinds, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to get exactly what the contract specifications stated.
Okay, great. Well, that's Commissioner Davis's motion. I'll second it. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 7. Any issue sending it forthwith? 7 will go forthwith. Number 8, subcontractor substitution for Royal Construction Corporation, recommending that the board concur with the action of Commissioner Davis, approving the request of Royal Construction Corporation for the subcontractor substitution of Angel City Elevator Incorporated, doing business as Target Elevator Company, with Cone, with a K, Cone Incorporated, for elevator work on the Vision Theater and Manchester Junior Arts Center Phase 2 to 3 project. That's at 3341 West 43rd Place. Mr. Smith on number 8.
The Bureau received a request from Royal Construction October 10, 2018 to substitute Angel City Elevator Inc., DBA Target Elevator Company, the OBE subcontractor for elevator work, with Cone Inc., and another OBE subcontractor. Accompanying their request was a letter from Angel City Elevator withdrawing from the project. They were not able to execute a subcontract with the prime. Target was originally bid listed for $200,000. However, the amount submitted for approval by Royal for Cone's portion of the work was $195,000 and $15,000 for Royal's portion, a total of $210,000. Royal will decrease its prime participation by $10,000 so that the work will be performed by Cone, and Royal's own forces will be at no additional cost to the city. And the Bureau concurs with Commissioner Davis's recommendation to approve the submittal, the substitution, excuse me.
Okay, any questions on number 8? Don't have any questions. That was Commissioner Davis's motion. Second. Oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Jacinto has a question.
Thank you.
Go ahead, sir.
Chris, in terms of the inability of the subcontractor to come to an agreement with the prime, can you tell a little bit about why they weren't able to come to an agreement?
Apparently, they had differences in what scope of work was encompassed in the price that they gave.
Okay, and so for that, the prime has ability to substitute?
Yes, well, and in this case, when the sub gives us a letter actually withdrawing from the contract and the good faith effort is performed, there's not much else that you can do.
Okay, and that's all there is to that, too? They
Yes.
couldn't come to... Okay, thank you.
Chris, does something like this have the potential to slow down a project like the theater project?
It could.
But did it in this case?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay. Good. Okay. So that's Commissioner. Any questions? Other questions? Commissioner Davis's motion on number 8, seconded by Commissioner Jacinto. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 8. Thank you for keeping that moving, Commissioner Davis. Any issue sending number 8 forthwith? We'll send number 8 forthwith. Number 9, subcontractor substitution for Sully Miller Contracting Company, recommending that the board concur with the action of Commissioner Davis approving the request of Sully Miller Contracting Company for the subcontractor substitution of Woofty Incorporated, doing business as United Fence Erectors, with Fence Corp for fencing work on the Albion Riverside Park project. Mr. Smith on number 9.
On September 17, 2018, the Bureau received a request from Sully Miller Contracting Company to substitute Wolfie Inc. DBA United Fence Erectors, their OBE fencing subcontractor, with Fence Corp Inc., another OBE subcontractor. In this case, there was no letter of withdrawal. The Bureau sent a 5-day letter notifying Wolfie's intention of Sully Miller to substitute them, and the Bureau received no response to that letter. The bid listed amount for United's portion of the fencing work was $298,170. However, the amount submitted for approval by Sully Miller for Fence Corp's portion was $307,691, a difference of $9,521. Sully Miller will decrease their prime participation by $9,521 so that the work performed by Fence Corp will be at no additional cost to the city, and the Bureau concurs with Commissioner Davis's recommendation to approve this substitution.
Any questions on number 9? No questions on number 9. That's Commissioner Davis's motion. I'll second it. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 9. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Any issues sending number 9 forthwith? We will send number 9 forthwith. Dr. Campos, have we cleared the desk of voting items?
Voting items, yes, you have.
Okay, we have an oral report. Mr. Cirillo is here. Construction Services Contract update from the Bureau of Engineering. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Mike Cirillo, Bureau of Engineering. I think the handouts have been passed out or are being passed out. Okay, I'll give you a second till you have them in front of you.
We get a pink one and a green one.
Yeah,
Okay.
should be pink and yellow, right, or is it green? Pink and yellow?
Yellow, bright green, yellow, whatever.
Fluorescent yellow. Yeah, the reports look very
Highlighter color.
reports look very similar, so I thought I'd have them highlighted. So
What a brilliant way to decipher between the two. Thank you, sir.
Sure, no problem. Okay, well, let me get started. So this is our quarterly report for Cisco, and Cisco stands for Construction Services Contract. We've been using Cisco for the better part of 15 years, if not more. This has been an ongoing contract the Bureau of Engineering has been using to assist the Bureau of Sanitation in delivering all of the clean water program projects. So this involves wastewater projects, stormwater projects, collection system projects, anything related to the clean water program. We're allowed to utilize Cisco. And you can see that there are two reports in front of you, Cisco 9 and Cisco 10. So we're on our 10th Cisco contract.
Let me just say for the record again, so the record is always clean on the issue. Cisco is an acronym for Construction Services Contract. It's not the company that has the contract. So go ahead.
Correct, correct. And so this contract is actually bid about every 3 years. We do a evaluated bid out to the contracting community. And at that point, there is no work identified. There's just a contract ceiling amount. And we take the contractor that gives us the highest direct value residual, meaning out of the 12 million or 15 million in this case ceiling, how much real work is the city going to receive after the contractor takes out all his markups and profit and overhead? Whoever gives us that highest value at that point is awarded the contract, again with no work identified. And then we, after the contract's awarded, we issue what's known as task work orders to the contractor for specific scopes of work, and those are negotiated and awarded. And anything over 100,000 will come to the board. Anything under 100,000 will be at the city engineer's discretion to award. That being said, let's get into some of the details of the reports. So Cisco 9, the older of the two contracts highlighted in yellow, this is a contract we awarded to Murray Company. It is a 4-year contract. It started out as a 3-year contract. But we extended it for time only about 6 to 9 months ago. I forgot exactly when, but we did do an extension because we were running out of time. And as it goes with these types of projects, they take a while to close out. So we came to board and we asked for an authority to just give us an extra year to close out the existing task work orders. We're not issuing any new work under this contract because, as you can see, out of the 15 million, we've pretty much allocated 14.8 million, so there's really no money left on this contract. It's merely just finishing everything that we started a few years ago. So this contract is 90+% completed. We expect to wrap it up early next year. And you can see the business inclusion numbers in the table. We've done fairly well in this contract. I don't expect these numbers to change much between now and April. We're positive in every category, slightly negative in SBE and DVBE, but overall I think they've done a great job of outreaching to the business inclusion groups there, and Murray has understood the importance of that and have done their best to bring in the numbers that we set per the contract.
I would say they did quite well. I mean, if you look at it's an increase, the delta on just MBE, for example, yes, it's 8.4%, but it's a 100% plus increase.
That's correct.
And if you look at WBE, it's about a 500% increase.
That's correct.
They hit their marks. They did on, now, maybe we had the goals set a little low, but it is what it is.
We'll see in the next report.
But even if you didn't have the goals, even if the goals were set low, the numbers they achieved were still good.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. And keep in mind, depending on the nature of the work, sometimes there's lots of opportunities and sometimes there isn't. A lot of times Cisco, there's a specialty niche contract that we need to award, let's say, to a company that specializes in something, and it's merely a pass-through for Cisco, meaning I just take that vendor's price, Murray puts a little markup, and we execute it. There's really no opportunity to outreach, so you get both sides, right? You get sometimes opportunity, sometimes not. So And you can see, by the way, if you're interested in the detail attached to the Cisco 9 report, we have every task work order that ever was issued with all the breakdowns of which category the monies were spent. If you go to the pink colored report, that's the Cisco 10 report. This is also Murray. Murray was awarded this contract. This is a 3-year contract, expires in April of 2021. So we're only about 20% into it in terms of time, but in terms of money, we have actually exhausted about 35% of the money. So we're spending a little faster than the time. So we're thinking about, of course, Cisco 11 and getting probably that out to advertise maybe in the spring, so we can kind of have a little overlap. We certainly don't want to be without this contract. So if it starts to run out of money, we need to get the next one kind of going. So, and they take a little while to get in place. So that's our timeline.
It's the Mike Cirillo balancing act of the Cisco contract.
It's something
Yeah.
we've learned to do very well. And in this one, the numbers don't look great. I'll be the first to admit we're low.
Because it's early.
It's early. It's early. I was just going to say that. We do have quite a bit of funding left. And if you look at the 6-month look-ahead projects below there, you can see quite a few projects that are going to be over $100,000 that will be coming to board and ask for your authority to award. And we're really going to push hard on these large ones to try to bring these numbers up. And I've made that very clear to Murray and my CM staff that this is our opportunity now with several large projects coming up. This is where we can bring in those numbers. So this is our push to try to bring in subcontractor utilization up with those task work orders.
Just to make everybody feel a little better about this, Mike, I'm sure you remember this. With Cisco 9, we saw the same trend where in the early days, the numbers were lower, and you told us it's early, and we'll push, and you work with Murray, and look at the numbers they achieved. And now we've got the same contractor on Cisco 10. They've obviously got experience at the process. They know it's a priority for us. It's not time yet to worry about this one.
No, I think we'll be fine. There's more than half of the money left, so we'll emphasize, reemphasize, and we continue to do so at every weekly meeting we have with them about the importance of these numbers. So.
By the way, before I forget, to the extent it would apply, and a couple of other reports that we've had where we've talked about MBE and WBE numbers, these numbers, Mike, you might, to the extent Con Ed's not already maintaining the metrics of these numbers, which I'm sure they do, but the controller has either, they're deciding whether they're going to do a report or an audit related to our MBE and WBE numbers. I just want to make sure that the success of these Cisco contracts are at least offered to the controller's office, whether or not it's within the scope of their audit. And even if it's not within the scope of their audit, I would like for it to be offered to them so that they can maybe update the scope of their audit accordingly. But go ahead.
That's a good point, because this wouldn't be captured under traditional bid and award contracts, because it only comes to award once.
But if you're talking about true MBE, WBE numbers, I think it should be counted.
It should be counted as part of what we do. So.
Yeah.
And then attached, you can see to the Cisco 10 summary sheet, you see all the projects that we've awarded to date. Again, it's early, so you don't see too many, but this is the current status of everything that's been awarded under Cisco 10. So I think that's all I really have to report. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Well, I have, Mike, some observations. I'm very glad about the tools that we're using in terms of the assessment of MBE, WBE, et cetera, and then also looking at our increase that we have achieved. I think that's very promising. Also, I think it's helpful in terms of our communicating with some of the primes just what it is we are realizing that we are measuring as we go along, and they can perhaps even more so help us with that. And I realize, according to the president, that you have, in fact, been communicating with some of our primes on that. So hopefully moving forward, they will be able to share some of the things that we value as we move forward. I know that they're doing the work, and the quality of work, all of that is critically important, but them to know about what we're doing and looking and measuring MBE and WBE will be helpful to them in helping us to achieve that goal. So again, I am very pleased with regard to the tools that we're using and that we have a concern about measuring those numbers, and I think you're doing a good job in that end.
Great, thank you.
So thank you for that.
If I could just add one more thing, I attended the Accessing LA event that was recently held, so I would just, if there's any more events like that that are coming up, please reach out to me personally, because I would love to come talk about Cisco and make sure that everybody's aware that the Cisco contract exists. Because it's only advertised on BAVN every 3 years, there's that gap where the projects are not known to the contracting community. So if I can be at those events, I can sort of talk about that and encourage contractors and vendors to participate in it, because they may not be aware of it.
Well, Chris is already here, and as you know, in ConAd, we have quarterly, we have these events, and we do them in every community throughout the city of Los Angeles. I mean, most of our dominant cultures in the city have access to us focusing from ConAd a special project, whether it's the African American community, whether it's the Asian American community, whether it's the Latino community. We do projects in all of those areas, and then we do general ones all the time as well. So Chris is here, and I'm sure that if they've not connected, they will continue to connect with you on
We'd
that.
love to be there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Jacinto?
Thank you, President James. Mike, this is another great report. Every time we hear that we're going to do a Cisco, it's always good news. And so to you, to Sean, who's the other staff person that works with you?
Well, Sean actually retired, so Willis Huffman is really kind of, and Rick Andelin.
And great.
Yeah.
To your team working with Murray Company, it's just it's as Dr. Davis would say, it's a project demonstrating excellence. And how do we get these same results in other kind of set-asides, targeted programs? You know, we have the small sidewalk repair and other smaller packages where we can get more diversity, but there's something there. And so the partnership with Murray and what they're able to achieve, you know, looking at the numbers for Cisco 9, almost $4 million.
Yeah.
And, you know, those are revenues that are going to diverse businesses that are building their families and communities. So it's testimony, really, the logic model for our mayor in terms of a prosperous city all over. And so I just want to see how much we can extract out of this Cisco and see how we can apply it in other types of programs. So we're going to want to get into it, Mike, and to hear from you other opportunities and what works here. And we know that it's it's clean water related, so there's opportunities and there's not opportunities. But the more we can replicate this, I think is a very good thing for our city. So please continue to advise us on how we could do better.
Certainly.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacinto. Commissioner Garcia?
Michael, thank you for your report today. Of course, you always do such a great job on keeping us abreast of things. And also, thank you for attending Accessing LA. I know we had a good time out there, and we were really... it was well attended overall, so it was a full day of making sure small businesses knew what we have here at the city. But I want to take you up on your comment. Maybe we can figure out how we can do a smaller scale of Accessing LA, not the big one, but more continuous, so that more folks do know that this is available for them. It makes a big difference in a small business life when they're able to get a contract, and that stabilizes them. Obviously, there's so much to it, but I believe very much in making sure that we make this possible for everybody. So I would love to sit down and figure out how, and I mean, I have ideas already, and we talked about it with my team on how to make it, smaller scale situations, but even so, making more of awareness that a small business can also contract with the city. So thank you for keeping that light going, by the way.
Sure, of course. That was kind of the number one theme I picked up from Accessing LA was vendors and contractors and firms would come up and say, how do we do business with the city? We're so confused, it's complicated, and we would try to have to guide them in the right direction. So that's a very common theme, and I think if we can kind of explain to them how to get their foot in the door, so to speak, then the next contract is even easier, and the next one's even easier. It's that first one that's always the toughest, right?
Yeah,
and after that, it opens a door.
Yeah, that's our goal, I think, cumulative as a board of how do we make this more accessible to small businesses, diverse small businesses too. So thank you for keeping that going. I really appreciate that enthusiasm.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Anything further? The oral report will be received. Thank you, Mr. Sorrell.
Thank you.
Have a nice
Thank
week.
you.
Mike and everyone else. Dr. Campos, have we cleared the desk?
Yes, you have.
Then we are adjourned this Monday morning.